For those of you that don't know, I'm Maggie, and today we have another favorites video. Somehow, the month of January has completely gotten away from me, and I feel like 2020 is flying, and I want it to slow down just a little bit because I have so much going on right now between my day job and wedding planning, and there's just a lot going on. But I have a lot of good things to share with you, and I'm really excited about it. These do not all fall into one category, so we're going to talk about things from a lot of different areas, like clothes and shoes, and then also some like beauty things that I've been liking, but also some, I don't know, things that I've kind of gotten back into that I've had for a long time. So without further ado, let me go ahead and jump right into it. And I want to start first with my bean boots. Now this is a super classic shoe that's been around for ages and ages. And the reason that I ended up asking for these for Christmas this past year was because I've been stationed on a project in Indiana. There in the wintertime is obviously very cold. So last year in January there was a polar vortex in Indiana and it was like negative 30 degrees. So I was 100% preparing for the worst, but this year it really hasn't been all that bad. But these shoes have really come in handy because this is a classic all-weather boot that I feel like I can wear in Texas and not look ridiculous, but also wear in Indiana when there's a lot of salt and everything on the roads that can kind of screw up your shoes. And so I was told just get some type of boot that can handle the wet and also the ice so that I'm not slipping and sliding everywhere. It's just a little bit safer. So the ones that I have, these come in the brown color, which I think is just their classic color, and I got mine in the 8-inch height. Now I really kind of liked the 6-inch one better, but they were limited edition or something like that, and so I thought this would be really good, especially if it were snowing or something and I could tie it really tight at the top and then I don't risk anything kind of getting into my shoe. But I loved these. There is a little bit of a break-in period, I will say, so when I was standing still I was kind of like rocking back and forth trying to loosen up this leather a little bit. So I think I just need to kind of like play around with it and loosen it up. Also the laces are a little bit hard at first. They loosen up over time. It's gonna be fine. They're extremely comfortable, really warm. I was wearing just my basic Bombas socks that I wear for everything, just like the ankle socks, and these were great. I also wore these with taller socks. Wonderful. I never felt like my feet were cold. These have been in style since like the 60s and the 70s, and I don't really think they're going anywhere. So anyway, really love my bean boots. Next up, while we're talking about cold weather gear, is my big old parka that I picked up at Nordstrom Rack. Now mine's kind of in like a slate charcoaly gray kind of color, which is nice because I can wear this with like navy blue, but also things that are black. I just thought it was a versatile color. Another thing is that it's super long and it's down and kind of quilted, and so it keeps me extremely warm. I just wore like a thin little blouse underneath this and I was completely fine, and it was like 22 degrees outside. It also zips up really nicely. The zipper's not finicky. The hood stays on your head so well. I have a big issue with hoods kind of like flying off my head, but maybe I've just never had a true kind of like weighty parka before, and so I've never really understood how that worked. Don't worry, this is a faux fur hood, but this just really does stay on your head so well, and it is amazing what a difference it makes when your head is covered and you're keeping the heat in on your head. This also has great pockets. They're super deep and they can store a lot. The only thing about this that I don't love is how large it is, but it's just necessary to have a bigger coat. Like I wanted definitely a longer coat that kind of came down to mid-thigh or maybe even my knee. I was advised by some of my people that I work with, they were like, don't fall for one of those packable parkas because that's not going to be good enough. Because you can pack it, that means that it's not dense enough, it's not stiff enough, it's not as quilted and warm as you need it to be, so keep that in mind. I did end up getting this I think for $99, which I thought was a great price for a really well-made parka. It's made by Michael Kors. I didn't buy it for the brand name. I bought it because it met all of the qualifications that I needed, as recommended from my friend from South Dakota. So, sticking with the travel theme, I have loved my little silicone bottles like this. Now, I really only use one at a time, and I got these in a pack of 3 from the FabFitFun add-ons. It came from the brand My Tagalongs, and it's this 3-set silicone travel bottles. These are TSA compliant. These are 2.5 ounces in capacity, and I primarily use this for my cleanser. I'm really picky about my cleanser, and so I always want to travel with whatever I'm using at that time. And so rather than going and buying a travel size bottle continuously of those cleansers, I typically just pump from my big bottle that I'm using into these. It's just a little bit more economical and eco-friendly in the long run, so I've really enjoyed using these. These silicone ones specifically are super sturdy, and they have a pretty controlled way of actually getting the product out of the bottle. I feel like sometimes this material is a little bit hard to control uncomfortable, or you feel like because it's so squishy, you're not like actually accessing the product in the right way. They have a really good kind of stopping system on the inside spout here so that you don't have additional things like leaking out of it. It's just a super clean, super useful silicone bottle. Also, silicone does a really good job of not holding on to bacteria. What is it? Like, bacteria doesn't live super long on silicone, very similar to like stainless steel or something like that. So when you're moving these around from different hotel showers and countertops and stuff where who knows what is on them, that's always a nice kind of added bonus to these silicone travel bottles. Another thing that's really come in handy on work trips is this tote that I got from FabFitFun. I think that the size of this is perfect, and I absolutely love the length of the straps because I can pack a lot into this bag and make it pretty heavy without it really pulling down on my shoulder and making things uncomfortable as it kind of digs into your skin. Now, the reason this has gotten so much use this month is because I've been traveling for that new project. My tip for you, if you travel for work very similar to what I do, is I always love to travel with some sort of backpack that has a lot of capacity. I can put all of my work things in there, and when I was just traveling back and forth to Austin all the time, I would just stuff my little personal purse in my backpack and call it a day. But because I'm traveling a little bit further and I'm going places that are a lot colder and I'm packing things that are a lot bulkier, I just feel the need to have a little additional space in my backpack carry-on, which means I'm adding a lot of extra things to that backpack that I typically bring to work that I wouldn't ordinarily. And so I find that putting this at the bottom of your suitcase, and it's super flat, barely takes up any room, kind of allows you to keep a lot of your carry-on needs from the plane in your backpack while you're traveling, and you just transfer over whatever work things you actually need into this separate bag. And I found it to be really useful, really effective. I just use this as my purse and my work bag, so I'm not packing that additional like stuffed bag that takes up room. That's why this has gotten so much use in January, and I continue to use this same plan going forward for my future trips this spring. So anyway, a little travel packing tip for you. January 2020 has also been the revival of my Kindle. If you watch my goals for 2020, you know that I'm attempting to read more this year. And that's not forcing myself to read when I don't want to, but just making it more of a habit. I have the Kindle Paperwhite, and I got this many years ago. Like, I want to say freshman year of college, I got this as a gift. And I love this little simple brown fake leather looking case because it does cover the screen, which makes me feel a little bit better when I travel. And the Paperwhite, of course, doesn't have any blue light. This takes up little to no space. I can have multiple books on it at once. It's just a whole lot easier than traveling with the bulky library books that I typically do. An interesting thing happened. I went to go buy one of the books that I've had on my list for a while, and it said, purchase this for $10.99 and we'll give you an $11.99 credit for another ebook that's part of the Great for Kindle reading something or other. And apparently there's certain books that are marked as Great for Kindle where you can highlight and add notes or zoom into graphs, and they make the reading experience on the Kindle more advantageous somehow. But essentially, I'm paying $10.99 one time, and then they're just giving me credit to continually use toward books. So it's a very weird business model, but I just wanted to alert you because I really hate paying for books, but I love to read, which is typically why I go to the library. Anyway, this is like a really cheap way to read a lot of the latest books that I want without having to wait weeks and weeks and weeks for them to become available at the library. I'll try to link some information about it down below, but super interesting, especially if you're a big reader like I am. Another thing that deserves a big ol' shout out is this Nivea Blackberry Lip Care. That's what I'm wearing right now, and this has been a wonderful way for me to still add a little bit of color to my lips in the winter time, because as you can see, maybe you can't, when I get super stressed and by result like super dehydrated because I'm just not focusing on that, my lips tend to split. Very uncomfortable. It takes a long time for them to heal, but things are just really stressful for me right now, and so of course this happens. It also just compounds things when it's the winter time and then you have that dry heat blowing on you. But this is basically just a tinted chapstick, so you can still look pulled together while also healing your lips at the same time. This was something that was recommended by both Emily Noel and Jessica Braun. Seriously, go get it. It's like $3.99 for two of them. It's a really thick tube. You get a ton of product, and it smells good, it applies well, it stays on well as like a chapstick would stay on. Highly highly recommend. Another beauty related favorite is this Clarisonic brush head. Now I have this in the package because I have a backup of it, and this is the Clarisonic Luxe Cashmere Cleanse High Performance Facial Brush Head. Now if you don't have a Clarisonic and you're not intimately familiar with how the brush heads are usually shaped or how they feel, this one is definitely a lot longer than the brush heads normally are. They typically, if you were to cut this in half, that's about how wide those bristles actually come out. But these are so soft. Luxe and cashmere, perfect words to describe this. And I typically try to choose my brush head for the time of year it is and whatever my skin needs at the time. So in the summertime, I typically like to use exfoliating ones because I'm putting a ton of sunscreen on my face and I'm sweating and I just want to be sure that I'm really cleaning out those pores. But in the winter, when my skin is already kind of dry and parched and it needs a little bit of extra care, I typically go for some sort of sensitive brush head, and that's where this comes in. It's not specifically marketed as a sensitive brush head, they do have those, but this one is so soft and so gentle and is perfect if you have sensitive skin. It seriously is so luxurious. I think I got these in some sort of Ulta gift set. And boy, am I glad that I did. So yeah, if you are in the market for a new Clarisonic brush head, definitely consider this one, especially if you have sensitive, super dry skin that you just need to pamper a little bit extra right now. Okay, the next product is included in this video thanks to a really nice person who commented on my Paula's Choice video. I did an entire video outlining every product that I've ever tried from Paula's Choice and my thoughts on all of them. What I liked, what I didn't like, what I thought was worth the money, and I got a very constructive, very kind comment saying, you know, I totally believe that her cleansers are great, but there is something to be said for double cleansing, even though it is a drag to have to buy an additional product. Because if you're using some sort of tool like this, you're just sort of moving the makeup around all over your face. So while it's getting the makeup off, it's not exactly cleaning your skin in the most optimal way. And so she was like, that's why you actually do double cleanse, but it will actually make your skincare more effective in the long run and just really get that makeup off of your skin and make your skin a little bit healthier. I started finally committing to really using this that I've had for a long time, and this is the Pharmacy Green Clean Makeup Melt Away Cleansing Balm. It is this kind of pretty green color. I don't know how to explain the consistency of it. It's not gel, it's not waxy, it's just kind of like a balm. If you were to melt down like a Burt's Bees lip balm and have it be a little softer, that's kind of what I feel like this feels like. How you use it is you scoop just a little, I don't know, fingertips full amount into your hand. You rub your hands together and put it all over a dry face, and it just starts to melt the makeup away. You can see your mascara coming off, you can see your skin, you know, ridding itself of all of the foundation or whatever you're using, and then I just wash it completely off with just water. Then I'll go in with my Clarisonic and my cleanser and cleanse my face like usual. And it really does a good job of cleaning your skin. And I just have to mention one more time how kind her comment was and how constructive it was. Even though we saw things a little bit differently, she took time to explain her point of view in a really nice way. And that is what this community is for. And 99% of you are extremely positive, and I love the comments that you leave. But there's always that one rotten egg that has something negative to say. So here's my reminder to just be kind on the internet. There's no need to be mean. The last kind of cosmetics related favorite that I want to mention is this Glossier You Perfume. This stuff I like, and it is so unexpected that I like this. It's really spicy. It's just kind of a rich scent, and I always describe this as my winter scent. I can't use this in the summer months because it just is so warm and cozy. They called it You because it's supposed to smell a little bit different on everybody, but that is true of a lot of perfumes. Your body chemistry totally determines how something smells on you. So every perfume is kind of like named You in essence. But this stuff really smells so good. If you're looking for something unique that's a little bit warm, a little bit spicy without being overwhelming, you have to give this a shot. I love this, and so many people that I know that prefer way different perfumes than me love this too. I just think that this is truly a universal scent. Switching gears into kind of a fitness favorite that I have going on, and this is, it's a little bit hard to read right now, but this is a set of the Bala Bangles. I take a very specific class here in Dallas that requires these weights, and we use them both on our wrist and on our ankles. They weigh 1 pound each, and while that might not seem like a lot, they're so good for toning and just adding a little little bit extra level of like work to whatever you're doing, especially for tiny repetitive movements that you want to do in like a toning type class. They're super easy to put on. All you do is put them on your wrist. It's kind of hard to do it on camera. I'll stand up. You put them on your wrist and you wrap this piece around, and then this has Velcro on it, and you just Velcro it wherever it needs to be. And they stay on really nicely. You can lift your hands like this. You feel it a little bit weighted. And they're super comfortable because these actually like move and split apart wherever you need them to be. And these are just made of silicone. And so it's not like it's grinding on your bones or feeling really uncomfortable around either your ankles or your wrist. Gosh, I love them. And they stay super clean. You can wipe them down easily with whatever you use to wipe down, like a yoga mat or something like that. So I have mine in like a paradise blue or some crazy name like that, but they come in all different sorts of colors like gray and pink, holographic, purple, whatever fits your fancy. These are available on Amazon, and I'll be sure to link them below for you to check out in case you've been in the market. This could be really good even if you don't go to a gym that specifically calls for this, but if you're a big power walker or if you wanted to do some toning at home with some videos or something, this is the perfect little addition to just take things up a notch. And that is all of my January favorites. I know these came from a ton of different categories, but it was kind of fun just to update you on what I've been up to and what I've been loving, and I really want to make these favorites videos more of a staple. I've definitely been kind of in and out in the past, but this is just such a good way to update you and hear your thoughts on things that I've been loving and hear your thoughts on things that you've been loving. So if you like this video, then like it, stick around, subscribe, join the community, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!